Welcome to Knicks N Bruises episode 2. I'm here with my guy from the BrotherShip from MBK, Nothing But Knicks, MBK fam, Simeon Russell. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm chilling, man. Chilling. Just got off the show. You know what I'm saying? The post-game show. Nice win by the Knicks tonight.
For
So
sure.
tonight, this afternoon, whenever it was, tough one, because Orlando was, you know what I'm saying? They was fouling up and up. They were fouling up a storm. They was hacking like they was hacking like a mug, man.
They was giving a lot of Knicks and Bruises out there.
Yeah, no doubt. For real. It was crazy. It was crazy, but good game. Glad we came away with the win, man. We needed it going on this 4-game road trip.
For sure. We've been here before. We did this once already. So this is the second time we're doing this. The first one didn't get to YouTube, so this one's for the YouTube family. Knicks and Bruises. Basically, we talk about the bruises that we've gone through over the years dealing with being a Knicks fan. It's been a rough stretch of 20, 30 years, at least for me, 30 years as a fan. So I wanted to get everybody's stories of what were their worst memories and moments. And I'm gonna do this one a little bit different. We're gonna do Knicks as like little small things that it was just a little nick here and there that bothered you over the years, and then the bruises, the big ones. So we could start with your Knicks. Any Knicks?
My Knicks, the little Knicks that bothered me over the years. There's a lot of them. There's so many of them that's out there. It's crazy, right? So many Knicks, so many little things that the Knicks have done or the teams have done that just make Knicks fans, upset. One of them, though, there's a couple of them. I think one of the bigger ones for me, and this is kind of in recent times, was the treatment of Carmelo Anthony. You know what I mean? I think that we were going to be here where we are no matter what, because they were going to move Carmelo. It didn't work with Melo. But the way that Phil Jackson treated him and did him in the media, it rubbed me the wrong way and just made me think differently of Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like when Phil Jackson came to the Knicks, I was excited. I was like, yo, okay, now we got a basketball mind up there. He's going to understand how to build a team. He's going to know what he's doing. But then it felt like his ego took over, right? When it came to Melo. And then, he's saying stuff in the media, just doing Melo wrong. And Melo, for the most part, was quiet about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't speaking out and doing all kinds of wild stuff. He was just professional about it. And that really bothered me, man, the way that they did Melo.
Hey, I hear you on that, man. That was the key word I think you used as far as Melo was professional. He took that in stride. He didn't come out and retaliate with the media. He handled it like a true professional, and that was actually a proud moment for me as far as the way Melo handled it. But I agree 100% with the mistreatment. And that's actually one of my Knicks was similar mistreatment when we got D'Antoni, and he swore everything, all his beefs with Stephon Marbury were in the past, and he was letting that go. And Marbury was supposed to be the starter, and next year the season starts, and not only did he not start, but he did not play, didn't come off the bench. No explanation was given, not only to Marbury, but to the media either. And, it just soured me. It soured me on D'Antoni early.
Yeah.
So that
and who do you have starting over him at that time? Was that Chris Duhon?
I believe so. I believe so. I had to think, but yep, I think it was Duhon.
Chris Duhon. I'm not gonna lie. When the Knicks brought in Chris Duhon, I kind of felt like I was like, you know what? Maybe Mike D'Antoni maybe Chris Duhon will fit into what Mike D'Antoni was doing. You know what I'm saying? So I was a little bit excited about it. Not excited about it. I was interested. Let me just say that. Like, okay, maybe Mike D'Antoni can change this guy. Turn him into a better player, right? Because Mike D'Antoni's always been known as the point guard guru type of dude, right? And then this stuff. Everything was happening with Marbury. I wanted Marbury to do well in New York, you know what I'm saying? Because he's from Coney Island. He wanted to be back home. I was like, okay, this is going to work. And Marbury is a 20-10 guy. You know what I'm saying? 20 points, 20 points, 8 assists. I think that's what he ends up averaging for his career. That whole thing with Mike D'Antoni was just,
It was bad.
And then what's crazy is it goes right into Melo, right? Everything with Mike D'Antoni, it goes from Stephon Marbury to Carmelo and Amari.
It's a bunch of Knicks. A bunch of Knicks.
Right. And a bunch of Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So, now he's over there in Brooklyn with Kyrie, Harden, and Kevin Durant, but he's not the head coach this time. So, who knows how that's going to be. But now I feel you, man. That's definitely that whole time, Isaiah Thomas and, was leading the charge as the general manager. They had all kinds of, the culture was just terrible.
Yep.
It was just a terrible culture with, everything that was going on in the front office and all of that. That's definitely a stain. That's a big stain. You could deal with losing, but that was a big stain on just New York Knicks.
It was.
Yeah.
And it happened. It went on for a couple games, and then eventually they parted ways. Or actually, they offered him a starting job because we had no other choice after. I don't know if it was a trade or some scenario where we just had no other point guards on the team, and then they tried to bring him in, and he refused, and etc. Everybody knows the story,
right?
But
let me ask you this. I got another little Nick too that I want to bring up. But do you think, because when you look at Marbury, he was with Mike D'Antoni. Well, I guess never mind. I guess I'm off on that because with Carmelo, it happened. Carmelo's downfall happened after he left the Knicks when Phil Jackson was there. So it wasn't Mike D'Antoni. All right. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Another one of my sore spots though is it has to deal with Phil Jackson again. Mike Woodson. Woody. I like Woody as a coach. Not perfect, but I like Woody as a coach. And I thought that Phil Jackson should have gave Mike Woodson a chance. You know what I mean? It was like, he had a foregone. Basically, he was like, I want Steve Kerr. He had it in his mind already that he was going to get Steve Kerr. He wanted to bring Steve Kerr to New York. But I thought that he should have gave Mike Woodson a chance. He had a relationship with the players. He worked well with the players. That last season, I forgot what year it was. Was that 13-14? Yeah, 13-14. They didn't make the playoffs because of injuries for the most part. You know what I mean? And it was because of injuries. And if they didn't have injuries, they probably would have made the playoffs. That always rubbed me the wrong way. That's why I was so glad that Mike Woodson came back with Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? Because I always felt like they did him dirty.
That's another good one. I believe that's the year we missed the playoffs by half a game. Came down to a wire. Ended the season on a 18-6 run, I believe.
Yep.
Just missed the playoffs. And Woody credits that as his best year or his most proud coaching experience. Watching these guys fight back and try to get that last playoff spot, missing it by a half game. So yeah, that's big. It was small, but I see where you're going with the Nick. Um, got any other ones? Any other little ones?
It's a lot of little ones that turned into big ones, right? That's what happens with Knicks. You get little Knicks, and then they turn into big things. You know what I mean? I like Allen Houston, but that contract, you know what I'm saying? They gave Houston that big contract, and then, he continuously couldn't play. I guess, that right there. I mean, that didn't bother me. That didn't bother me. You know what did bother me when they signed Jerome James? That was a little nick that bothered me. That bothered me right there. You know what I'm saying? Because he had one good game for Seattle in the playoffs, and then Isaiah Thomas goes crazy and thinks he's the next big thing. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, man, this dude, man.
I believe that was number 4 on Josh's list.
Yeah, that was terrible, yo, because because he had 1 or 2 good playoff games. You get this man a contract, and how many times did he suit up for the team? Yeah. 10 games or less? Or something like that. I don't know.
Not many. That he robbed us. He robbed us blind.
What's Jerome James doing right now?
Eating, probably.
Probably. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. I mean, the thing is, I seen some of the things that he could do. Right? I seen some of the things that he could do, but you don't pay him the amount of money that they paid him at that time. You know what I mean?
People talk about Knox with no motor.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying?
No motor.
Exactly. That's definitely no motor. No.
So I got a quick nick that's very, very personal to me. We always seen, minus Kobe Bryant, all of my favorite players in the league, the Knicks have signed at some point in their career. And the problem has always been the point of their career that we signed them.
Right.
So Marbury was one of them. He was probably the only one that wasn't past his prime. And Melo. But then we have Penny Hardaway, who is by far number 1 favorite player of my team, of my youth. Tracy McGrady as well. Steve Francis, not so much one of my favorites, but again, he fits that bill of past their prime. So those little nicks over the year of, like, in my heart, I'm like, yes, we got. But I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, they're shells of themselves.
Right.
And right. That bruised me over the years.
Yeah, I remember when Tracy McGrady played his first game as a Knick. I think he had like 24, 25 points. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, yo, what if McGrady is actually about ready to cook again? You know what I'm saying? But, next season he was gone. I mean, we knew the reason why they traded for him, so they can open up that cap space to have room to sign. They thought they was going to be able to sign LeBron and Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? But I was like, yo, what if they do sign LeBron and Wade and Tracy McGrady is still cooking? Like, we about to kill it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? But, we know how history went. We know how history went. Another one of my little nicks is Amari punching that fire extinguisher. That's another one of my little nicks because, I feel like, I know he was upset or whatever, but I feel like the Knicks they could have beat Miami or at least challenged Miami at least that year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That was a bruise for me.
I mean,
that was a bruise.
That right there, because I felt like the Knicks had the moxie. You know what I'm saying? They had they felt like they was better than them. You know what I mean? They felt like they was better than them. And That right there hurt. And that hurt. That hurt. I forgot how many. Did he miss games? I forgot how many games he couldn't play.
Yeah, he missed 2, I believe.
He missed 2 games, right?
He actually came back faster than I thought was even possible. But yeah, I think he missed 2 games.
Yeah. Just that's a little nick for me right there.
All right. That's good stuff, son. Good stuff. So let's get into the bruises.
There's a lot of bruises, you know what I'm saying? A lot of bruises.
You don't have to go in any particular order.
Yeah. My most painful one, because Patrick Ewing is by far my favorite player, in the NBA. He wasn't the best player in the NBA, but my favorite player. And when the Knicks traded him, for me, I was like, yo, this is your franchise guy. You don't trade your franchise guy. Not at that time, you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You don't trade him. Not for Glenn Rice. Not for Glenn Rice. Come on, man. And they traded Patrick Ewing. I was hurt. And like when they traded Patrick Ewing away, the soul of the team was gone. And that was right there. That was that was just the beginning stages of the downfall for the team. Even though he couldn't do what he once did, I felt like, after he'd been there 15 years, I don't know, back then I didn't really keep up with all of the salary stuff and how much guys were making and when the contracts were going to expire and all of that stuff. But to me, been there 15 years. You figure out a way to make it work so that he can stay, even if he has to start coming off the bench or, whatever it is that you got to do. I feel like the Knicks have been cursed ever since then.
That's a big one. That's a big one on a lot of people's lists. I know that was an honorable mention on Josh did a top 5, and that was an honorable mention on his top 5. The weird thing about that, because I agree, that was like the curse. We were cursed after that, and it was a situation where we kind of just needed to stand pat. I think the organization actually wanted him to come off the bench, and I think that was part of the initial stir up. I remember Patrick coming out saying, he wished he handled that situation better because he didn't ask for a trade, but he, they were bumping heads on issues, that being one of them, because they thought Camby was ready to start. And he always regrets how he handled that, and obviously wish he never got traded and retired a Knick. So
right,
that was
the first time I seen him. The first time I seen him in the Seattle uniform, I was like, yo, this don't even look right. Sonic's uniform, I was like, this don't even look right. And then he was in Orlando, and it was just like, yo, what's going on? And then of course he went out to lead. He should have always had. There should have never been any other Patrick Ewing uniform or jersey out there. Should only been a New York Knicks jersey.
100. They should have did him like Herb Williams.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know what I mean? And Ewing should have been around. Should have been an assistant coach for the Knicks. Right? He should have been an assistant. He should have been. Maybe they tried him out as whatever. But he should have been around the Knicks organization way more than he is now. I mean, you got Larry Johnson, who's around the Knicks organization, who, while he had some great years with the Knicks, he didn't do half as much of what Patrick Ewing's done for the New York Knicks. Allen Houston's still around. He didn't do half as much. John Starks. All these guys are still around, but Patrick Ewing was the lifeline. He was the lifeline of those teams, you know what I mean? And they didn't even bring him back into the organization. I've always felt in my heart that the Knicks they jinxed themselves by not.
I agree, son. That's big. Like even like you said, the times of him trying to get his coaching career started, or in some capacity, they definitely needed to bring him in. I wonder. I hope. Maybe I shouldn't wonder. Maybe I should. Like I said, this channel is so we could get all these bad memories out and let them go. And
Right,
not,
right.
But I do wonder what was the animosity still there over the years. Obviously, with Hewan saying what he said, there's no animosity on his part. But I always wonder, like, why didn't he get a shot? I mean, there was times where we needed, at the very least, a big man coach, a guy to show some of our bigs the ropes.
Right.
Over those years.
And I think that maybe some of the head coaches probably felt like if I bring Patrick Ewing in as an assistant coach, just his presence in the organization with the fans is going to overpower me. I'm going to hear every night, we want Ewing, as the head coach, stuff like that. And they probably didn't want to deal with that.
Okay.
Other head coaches. That's what I'm thinking.
I can see that. Mark Jackson would have brought him in.
Yeah, Mark Jackson would have brought him in. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy because he probably would have brought him in. Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. With Tom, if Patrick Ewing wasn't coaching Georgetown, Tom Thibodeau might have brought him in to work with. Although they're different types of centers, Mitchell Robinson and him, but he might have brought Patrick Ewing in if, because they was at the same. Tom Thibodeau, was an assistant coach during that time. You know what I'm saying? So, he might have brought Patrick Ewing in, but it's neither here nor there now. I doubt he's ever going to coach the New York Knicks, Nah,
I don't. I think once you get that head coaching experience, for the most part, you try to build off of that and
right. And I don't foresee a time when he's going to be the head coach of the New York Knicks.
No.
I just don't see it. But that hurt me, man. Yeah, that's definitely a bruise. That hurt me. Another one for me was 1995. I believe it was 1995 Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks, Indiana Pacers, and Patrick Ewing misses the layup.
The finger roll.
Yeah, he misses the finger roll. He should have dunked it. That's what everybody. That's what it's all about. He should have dunked it. He missed the finger roll. Indiana Pacers go to the NBA Finals, and that hurt. That hurt me more than when the Knicks lost in the finals and John Starks, shot him out. That hurt me more because that year I was like, the Knicks probably gonna go back next year. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, they're gonna learn from this. They're gonna win it next year. And then when they lost, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then after that, I didn't know if we were, when we was going to get back.
I hear you. So, that finger roll, that's one of the clips highlighted in my intro video, which, is still a work in progress, but it's coming. But yeah, that's definitely highlighted in there, the finger roll.
That was a painful moment for me, man, because you knew that Jordan was coming back, right? And you knew, some people thought that maybe Jordan wasn't going to be as good, but I think most Knicks fans felt like, man, once Jordan gets back, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like you just knew, like it's a wrap. So you had to get it while you could.
That was my I hear you.
Yeah, you had to get it while you could. Some other bruises. Of course, the Roy Hibbert block of Carmelo. That's a painful one right there. right? Because the Knicks hadn't been in that situation in such a long time, and they at least could have went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. They go down 3-0, 2-0, or 3-0.
2-0.
They were down 3-2 at that point.
Yeah, and that next game would have been in the Garden.
And then if they would have won that game, they would have played Game 7 at the Garden. But I feel like I thought maybe they had went down 3-0 and came back and won 2. Then they lost that one to make it 4-2.
They won 2 in a row. I know that.
Right.
So,
right. And they won 2 in a row. So I think that made it 3-2 because I think they were down 3-0.
Yep.
Right. Of course, they should have never been down 3-0 to the Pacers. Of course, the Pacers are an old nemesis. And then, corny Roy Hibbert gets that freaking block on Melo, and it was, I was just like, can't believe it. You know what I mean? Because if Melo completes that dunk, the Knicks were coming home for Game 7, and they were not losing Game 7 at the Garden. Guaranteed they were not losing Game 7 at the Garden.
I agree, man. I think that might be my number one. And it's crazy how that's almost a direct parallel, at least for me, with your previous one, the finger roll and the Melo block. Like, I really felt like that was our year to get to the finals at the very least. Yeah, man. That blow, that block, and I knew it right then and there. Like, that was the game. There was still time left, but that block, I mean, that if he would have dunked that, the momentum would have shifted crazy. I'm like, man, is that Jermaine O'Neal? Nope, it's Roy Hibbert. Like, how you get those powers?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Roy Hibbert, he's not even in the league anymore. You know what I mean? Not even in the league anymore. That was a painful moment, man, because I think the Knicks that year beat Miami. I think maybe they were tied 2-2 for the season or something like that.
I think we swept them that year.
Did we?
I think we swept them that year. I wasn't worried about Miami. I was thinking Knicks, Lakers in the finals.
Maybe we did sweep them that year.
We swept them that year.
Yeah,
we didn't get to play them in the playoffs.
What'd you say?
I said, and then we didn't get to play them in the playoffs. Like, well, we had the number that year.
Yeah, that because we were 54. The Knicks that season, I don't want to say that they created the Golden State Warriors style of play, but they were pretty close to creating that play, for people to mimic because, they had the game, the floor spread wide open. They shot a lot of threes. They played at a good pace. They had a smart point guard, Jason Kidd, who just knew how to get everything. They were they averaged 111 points per game or something like that. They were a good team, man. They were a really good team. Really good team.
Yeah, man. If they could have been 2 or 3 years younger and able to just, ride that out for a couple years.
Yep. Yeah, yep. Exactly. Okay, so I'm looking at it now. Let me see. Game 1, Indiana won 102-95. Game 2, the Knicks won Game 2. Okay, so it was 1-1, and then Indiana won 2 games. So it was 3-1. Right, and then the Knicks won Game 5 to make it 85-75, and then the Knicks lost Game 6.
Oh man, I still feel that like in my gut when I like really think about it, like I feel it right in my gut still. We got that was a tough one, man.
Yeah, that was a tough one. But you know what? We went up. I can't wait to get back to. I would rather have that painful feeling than not make the playoffs.
Well, I'll take it again, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? I will take that pain. You know, I long for that pain. I wish for that pain right now. Than to just, be sitting home, not making the playoffs, watching everybody else. So hopefully we'll get back to that. I can imagine, I can see it now. We're gonna get back to it, and we're gonna feel the pain of Julius Randle missing some free throws or something like that, and it's gonna hurt. Or somebody doing something boneheaded. Alfred Payton, pulling some crazy shot, and everyone's gonna be pissed off that Alfred Payton was the one who shot the ball, instead of Quickly or RJ Barrett. You know what I mean? I can imagine it.
Hopefully it goes the other way, and we get a circus shot to win the series by Payton. How about that?
Right, there you go.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, or he gets one of those dunks
that we saw tonight.
You know what I'm saying? That he gets one of those dunks that that he gets every so often, when he goes down the lane and dunks it on somebody.
All right.
I mean,
you any more bruises?
Any more bruises?
Something that dwelled with you for a couple of years or something. Maybe you let it go by now, but
I'm trying to think. Any more bruises? I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them out there. Those kind of really come to mind, as the two biggest bruises that I have dealing with the Knicks. Of course, we've been terrible for the last however many years. You know what I mean? So, that's always going to be a stain. We've got to be in the worst drought, hopefully at the end of the worst drought in Knicks history. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more to come.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope for everything being sunshiny.
But there might be good bruises though.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you got to take your lumps.
There might be some good bruises. We might next year, or the year after. Let's say the year after, maybe we're good enough and we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and Kevin Durant hits a game winner in Game 7 to send the Nets to the finals instead of the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a big bruise because it's the Nets.
It would.
You know what I'm saying? But still, you know what I mean? So hopefully it'd be some good bruises. And then the year after, the following year, the Knicks make it to the finals or something like that. But you got to take your lumps. So maybe there'll be some good bruises coming in a few years.
I'm hoping we put the bruises on the other teams.
Right. I see Evergreen say he can't wait to be on this show. Peace out to you, Evergreen.
Evergreen, I got you coming up, my brother. You coming up. I want everybody's bruises and Knicks and Bruises. But so let's focus on this current Knicks team, or this current Knicks regime. Obviously, I think all of us fans will agree we're moving in the right direction. We got some nice young talent. We need some pieces. My first question is your thoughts of the current Knicks roster, the current Knicks regime, front office. And I'm sorry, Sam. Before you answer that, I just want to highlight one of my biggest bruises that I really haven't spoke about much, not even on your show. Was pretty recent, and it was James Dolan's handling of the George Floyd situation, the comment, the message to his employees. I'm not going to get into it like with the details of it, but I just felt like I needed to highlight that
yeah,
it wasn't okay, and it definitely hit me hard, and I kind of suppressed it. You know what I mean? I just like wanted to focus on basketball, if you will. and deal with my political and civil views outside
Out-
of
right.
the.
I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
just need to highlight that. But yeah, current Knicks team, current Knicks regime. Thoughts on
Um,
where we at now?
I really like the current Knicks regime. I think that Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau seem to be on the same page. They have a smart front office, I think. A front office that is willing to and understands how to wheel and deal in the NBA. That's what I get from them so far with things that they've done. Then Tom Thibodeau, I feel like he put together a really nice coaching staff. And, you can just see it with some of the things that the players do. RJ Barrett, one of them, he's been on a recent hot streak. And I feel like the reason why is because they found a way to get him to focus on his shot, to focus on his areas of success. You know what I'm saying? Not just shooting it just because, but getting to his spots on the floor and taking those shots where he's comfortable. He went from, in recent games, from always trying to penetrate and get right at the rim to now shooting the mid-range. You know what I'm saying? He's been knocking down the mid-range, and it's helped to open his game up a little bit. So it's things like that I see that you see in players where they're growing. Kevin Knox has a role. He understands his role. Julius Randle, of course, with the way that he's playing this year, is just so different than last year. And it's because of this coaching staff that they put together. You know what I mean? Like, they're really working with the guys, really teaching the guys the game of basketball, helping them to understand where to be on the floor, why they need to be there, helping them to understand their strengths and work on their weaknesses. So I really like this coaching regime and the front office staff. I really do. I think that they're doing a great job. And as soon as I do believe that Leon Rose and them guys, once they understand what we have in a team, they're going to make some moves. We don't have all those draft picks for nothing, man. They're going to make some moves. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but they're going to make some moves. And I think they're going to be good moves. Yeah.
And we've talked a little bit about that before on your show. We've talked about it off air as well. But what do you think are some of the moves that we could make in the near future or next off season that maybe propels us into, let's say, playoff contention? And when I say playoff consistency, a perennial playoff team, we gotta build. It goes step by step. It's very rare that a team can make it from lottery to championship, if ever.
Right. I think they need another guy that can score. Another guy that can just get you buckets. RJ, he's inconsistent. He's on this stretch right now, and maybe in another 3 or 4 games, he'll go down and he can't hit anything. Right. So he's inconsistent. So I think they need somebody who's, can definitely get you 20 to 25 on a nightly basis. While you still got RJ and you still got Randall. And then, just a real strong veteran point guard that understands how to win the game. I think those are 2 things that the Knicks need. And you know what I talked about before, Zach LaVine and Kyle Lowry over the summer. You know what I mean? And, it's not that Zach LaVine is this big superstar. It doesn't have to be, but you put him with RJ Barrett and Randall, if there's a way you can make it happen. And then over the summer, you bring in a Kyle Lowry. Next year, you're looking at 5th seed, at least, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And then, you train, you develop and you train a point guard behind them. You see what happens with Zach LaVine and Julius Randle, and, how you want to deal with their contract situations. And then you go from there, you know what I mean? And you continue to build and grow and add to the team. Then you talk about, you got it Quickly and you got Obi Toppin and RJ. Knox would probably be gone in that kind of a trade. Maybe even Frank Ntilikina. You still got Julius, and then you have Zach LaVine. And now all of a sudden you got some pieces where other people are looking like, I think I want to go play with them. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I think they got something going over there, so
I'm a big fan of Larry. I hope we could, lure him here. One of the big things that he has that, most of these other guys don't have is championship experience. And that's priceless. He has lessons that a Chris Paul can't teach the guys he's playing with.
that's right.
You know,
Yeah.
So I think that's big, and I mean, preferably from the point guard position, but I think just bringing a champion in would help us.
Yeah.
Because you teach these guys what it takes to get there because they got there already, and you can't take that away from anybody who's been there.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you with Kyle. I had one last question for you. So let's say bringing Kyle in isn't necessarily an option, right? Let's say we get burnt again in free agency. Do you think holding on to these draft picks is an option? Do you think keeping the youth movement going? Do you think we have enough if everyone develops to their potential? What do you think our ceiling is that way?
If everyone develops to their potential,
and we don't make any moves, and we rely on bringing in some, I guess whoever these drafted players are going to end up being. What do you think? How long? Oh, let me rephrase it. How long do you think it would take for our young guys to reach their potential without bringing in outside help?
Few years, because when you look at Randall, right? He's at the top of his game right now, and he's probably going to continue to ascend and get better. But he's just like entering, or just not even entered his prime yet, but just before it. And that he's 26, about to be 27. You look at our young guys, 20, 21, 22. So by the time they are really at that point, at 26, that's 4-5 years. You know what I'm saying? So if you're looking at and saying, well, RJ, Knox, Obi, Quickly, Mitch, right? We need these guys to get 25, 26 years old. And then now all of a sudden, like we real nice and we got a nice nucleus. It is going to take that long if we don't do any other moves and just develop those guys. It's going to take that long. Because I think we can be competitive, but in order for us to like really be at a high level of basketball, it's going to take some years of those guys grown up to be adults. Growing up to be adults, learning the basketball game and stuff like that. So it could take a while.
All right, and then one last question. Other than Kyle Lowry, is there another point guard out there that you think could potentially be available and can push the needle for our team to, let's say, be a top 4 or 5 team?
A veteran point guard, or just
if you think it's a young guy that fits the bill of pushing the needle, he fits the bill.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it's going to end up needing to be a veteran.
Right. I think someone like Mike Conley could fit. Right. He's come from the grit and grind type of team that was in Memphis. And that's a little bit what is being built here right now. If you watch today's game, that was grit and grind like a mug. You know what I mean? So I think that's a little bit of what's being built right now. A grit and grind team. Mike Conley, I think, would fit that bill. Another point guard that could be on the market, not sure. Well, Lonzo Ball is going to be on the market. I think Lonzo Ball could fit with these guys really well. He's
I
a
agree.
passer. He's a pass first point guard. So he's shown that he can shoot it from three. He's improved. He likes to get the ball up. I think we talk about this first lineup not being a push to pace type of team. I think if you get Alonzo Ball and you get a shooter in there instead of Reggie Bullock, you can transform portions of this team to be a fast break. A team that can get up and get out and get up the floor. Because Lonzo Ball, and I know people say, well, quickly, he can push the pace, but Lonzo Ball does it differently. He looks ahead. He doesn't dribble it ahead all the time. He looks ahead. And if you got somebody running up that sideline, and Lonzo Ball hitting him, he's a different kind of passer than Quickly, I think, and I think he would fit good with this group. That's why when I did the video, I did the shoot around the other day, and we talked about Zach LaVine and Kyle Lowry. And I also mentioned I wouldn't mind, if you did Zach LaVine and Kyle Lowry and you had to make a trade of a wing player, then I wouldn't mind also bringing in Lonzo Ball, you know what I'm saying? Because he's 6'7", so he can play on the wing too. Kyle Lowry is the kind of point guard. He can distribute, but he also likes to go to, he's going to go to the basket and score. You know what I mean? So I think someone like a Kyle Lowry and Alonzo Ball on the floor at the same time could be good defensively as well as offensively.
I agree. I like Lonzo as well. I actually do think he could push the needle. Similar to what I was saying about Quickly and Toppin, I think Lonzo would do a lot for a guy like Toppin who loves to run the floor.
Yeah,
loves to leak out and
a whole lot.
So
right.
Yeah, I would. What do you think it would cost to get him?
Well, I mean, he's he wasn't extended a qualifying offer, so he's going to be a restricted free agent.
Meaning they could.
I think it's going to be restricted free agent. Well, you know what? It's going to depend on if the Pelicans decide to offer him a qualifying offer. Right. So we'll see how it works. But there's a chance that he could be a free agent, though.
I don't see any way they don't at least offer the qualifying, because the qualifying offer just gives you the option. That makes him restricted. That gives you
makes him restricted. That makes him restricted, right? And then our team,
But good stuff, son. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
Shout out to the chat. Your Blackest Time. Everybody knows where to find you. So I know.
Yeah.
I know you, but if you want to let the people know where to find you, man.
Hey, youtube.com/NothinButKnicks. And if you go on nbkfam.com, there'll be links there to all of the NBK fan creators. So make sure you check it out.
Appreciate it. Good show, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
No doubt. Anytime, man.
All the followers and everybody, I'm gonna get you guys in one at a time. You guys know what the channel's about now, so you could get your thoughts in order and get ready to share your Knicks and Bruises with everyone.
Yeah, that's it, man. Without a doubt.
Following.
Appreciate it. Peace.